This sad lump of metal is the alternator for the Maserati, and I found out that it wasn't charging all of the time. Some of the times it would charge if you revved the engine up to maybe 2,000, and then it would start charging, and it kept charging for a little while anyway. I could never pin down when it would stop charging, but it was unreliable. And then the last time that I was taking voltage measurements, I'd rev the engine up and it didn't seem to matter, 2 grand, 3 grand, somewhere in there, it still wouldn't start charging and the battery was getting low. I called up Lenny and said, hey man, I need a rebuild kit for this alternator. And so he said, well, take a look at the back, and he wanted to know what the voltage regulator looked like, and so I just took a picture and sent it to him. And so let's see, oh, that's the brush set. Anyways, new set of brushes. Let's see, here's the new voltage regulator, and let's see, that'll mount up like that. Get the wiring plugged in there. And then he said, oh, and I've got bearings for that too, if you're interested in that. I was like, well, yeah, send me the bearings too, which I'm glad I asked for them, because I don't know if that's coming through on the camera, but that's a noisy alternator there. Got this all shined up with the sandblaster. Now it's time to change out the old bearing in here. It's probably got some sand in it from the sandblasting, so good idea to leave the old bearing in there while you're doing the cleanup part. There goes the old one, bit of rust on the outside there. Nice shiny new bearing. Clean out the bore real quick. Decided I better check out the old bearing that came off of there, and it looks good. Looks to be the right size, and it fits inside of the stator housing perfectly. I mean, it's a press fit onto here, just like you'd expect. So if we sink that down in there, ooh, talking to me a little bit, but ooh, there it is. Now I think we're all the way down. So, and it doesn't have the support at the other end yet, but it already spins nice. Got our new bearing here. We're just gonna slip that in. There we go. The bearing retainer. Okay. Now might be a good time to reference the pictures I took before I took this thing apart. Before I send these bolts back in, I'm going to clean them up, clean up the threads. Also going to apply just a little drip of automatic transmission fluid. I don't feel like this is the right time to just use Ugga-Duggas. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, that sounds nice. Just the sound of the bearings working. We've got our little keyway that will insert back into its slot. This is a little spacer. Make sure the narrow end goes in first. Then the fan blades. Now the pulley. Lock washer. And we get. Okay, I've got the belt for the pulley to the crank. So this is like the belt that is supposed to fit that pulley. I'm gonna hold it as tight as I can by hand with a welding glove on, and we're gonna give it some ugga-duggas. Okay, yep, that is trying to bust my knuckle right through the glove. Let's see. You know what? Maybe we just... Well, that hurts my thumb. Just a few more ugga-duggas. Give her another test spin. Nice. We'll grab our new brushes. Very springy. Alright. Just gotta set that in here. Nice and tight. New voltage regulator. You do have to use some type of Phillips head screw, or I guess you could have reused the flat blade screw heads. I don't like flat blade screwdriver heads. Plus those ones are a little bit rusty. But you have to use some sort of screw head because the bolt, like an 8mm bolt, you won't be able to get the socket on over the top of it because the clearance is so tight right there. Don't ask me how I know that. This little groove of plastic here prevents you from putting it over here, so it should just slide right over the top of that, like so. And then the car connector will hook on to that one there. Now we're going to put this cover back on, which I've been holding this bolt in place with this nut, and it comes through the back side, and it kind of has to fit just a certain way from the inside. You don't want to have it rotated the wrong direction because there's like a flat spot on the back side of it in here that you can't see anymore. So anyway, it's kind of a special bolt setup from the inside there. So you have to kind of pull on it, and then it finds this little spot where it rides further out. And I wanted a new nut for this guy, which this is just a temporary hold down. I'm pretty sure I have to put the battery positive cable that goes up to the starter motor area over the top of that. There's like a ring terminal that'll go under that nut. Okay, we want to make sure that this wire runs out through here so it's not getting pinched underneath that. Okay, yeah, that looks good. There we go. Alright, that's tight. That's temporarily snug. I think we're done. This is the car side of things, and I'm looking at the battery positive wire, and I just don't think it's big enough. What is that? Maybe a 10 gauge wire? A single 10 gauge wire. I'm gonna double it up. I've got another 10 gauge wire that I salvaged from a I think it's a Ford wire harness, but it's brand new, well, much newer copper that give the electrons two choices of which way to flow, and if one way starts developing a little more resistance and they want to flow through the other wire, perfect. I'm just going to double up the amount of space for them to flow, because life would suck if this single wire decided to overheat and burn up on a long road trip. Got a brand new ring terminal on the end of here, and gonna get it crimped down in the vise. There we go. That isn't going anywhere. Do a little heat shrink action. Very nice. Alright, another point is the thin nut will go with the bolt that has the thin head. And then I had been thinking about using a lock washer in there, but there's just not enough space for the thickness of a lock washer up in there, so there weren't any lock washers in here when I took it apart, so I guess it's a good thing there's two bolts. Like, maybe that's why they did it this way instead of just having one long bolt go through like most modern day alternators have. But anyway, this is the setup I'm gonna go with. Here's what I came up with. This is the new wire here. It's got a new ring terminal on it. This is the original battery alternator charge wire, and wrapped up the new wire with some split loom, and basically just takes the same path down to the alternator that the original one does. Okay, and I've just got it tucked in underneath the original one, and it's all bolted down, and it's got the black rubber cap on it, so I think that looks pretty good. It's running again, and the alternator is charging. So this is reading 13.8, 13.85, and this is with the freshly rebuilt alternator with all the parts, also from Auto Italia, aka